Welcome to another policy moment. This week I am talking about the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. This act really started the disability advocacy movement. Before that, there was not much for people with disabilities to do besides trying to live the best they could. The Rehabilitation Act of 1973 was challenging to get passed. People with disabilities had a sit-in at the United States Capitol. They did not leave the Capitol until the act was passed. They had to sleep on the floor, and there were no showers to wash up. People with disabilities showed they meant business, and they succeeded. What did the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 cover? It was divided into sections, and each section covered different areas. For example, Section 504 prohibits discrimination based on disability in any program or activity operated by recipients of federal funds. In other words, any building that receives money from the government can't discriminate. This is huge because the United States government funds schools and colleges that can't deny service to a person with a disability. Section 501 covered employment within the government for people with disabilities. They could not deny a person employment because of their disability. This doesn't apply to companies outside of the government. We will learn more about that when we discuss the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA. That comes when we discuss the ADA, which will be coming soon. So watch for more policy moment. The Rehabilitation Act of 1973 was tough to pass because people were not educated, so people with disabilities had to inform lawmakers and others about their needs. They had to explain things like diagnoses and disabilities, because there was no Google to look things up. People with disabilities had to teach lawmakers everything, which took hours and hours, and Congress had other things to do. But people with disabilities spoke up and spoke out. 3 requirements came from this act: reasonable accommodations for employees with disabilities, program accessibility, and accessible new construction and alterations. These requirements sound more like the ADA, but the public sector attended to them with the ADA. I look at it like this: the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 was a test run with the federal entities, and the ADA was for public entities. Your task for the week is to learn more about the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. I highly recommend you watch the documentary called Crimp Camp, because it shows what it was like when people with disabilities fought for our rights and shows what it was like during the sit-ins at the Capitol. The documentary is on YouTube, and I've watched it several times. It can help you learn what life was like for people with disabilities back then. Here at the Alliance, we say speak up and speak out for what you feel is right. I look forward to our next policy moment.